Right before she died of a drug overdose, I had no idea she was taking drugs.
It gets you addicted. I mean, I started out like any drug, just doing it once a week. Then it became twice a week. Then it became almost every night, smoking a little bit. Then it became waking up with it, doing it all day long.
I didn't get to see my daughter, but her dad did.
He was a heroin addict. He, had struggled with heroin for a long time, but he had been clean for a year.
I'm just thinking to myself, like, God, why? Why did you drive?
I looked to the left and I saw like this white truck, and I couldn't say no. I said, I go, oh Jesus, like that, and it hit us.
You will be convicted of a felony if you're caught selling this stuff.
And what you don't really realize is that you're putting your life in danger and everybody else around you in danger, and it's just not worth it.
It was 8 minutes from the time the officer left, and that my daughter was killed.
Broke my back at T12, severed my spinal cord, had a punctured lung, a torn diaphragm, and several broken ribs, and that's what left me paralyzed at the waist, and he got a speeding ticket. That's it.
Hi, folks. Thank you for joining us here again for a live event after the premiere. I appreciate you guys being here. It looks like we have quite a few people with us already. So, how did you like the premiere? Tell me some feedback. It was a little bit longer than a lot of our stories are, and I thought quite a powerful story. So, what do you guys think? Hello, Dana. Thank you for being here. Hi, Brenda, Joan, Magnetic Christ, Deidre, and all of the others. I'm very glad you're here. It looks like we have some new faces here. Hello, Christina. Glad you're here. Brenda, you love the longer ones. Actually, quite a few of our viewers seem to really love the longer ones, and it really is kind of just dictated by the story, that we don't set out to make it a certain length, but many of them tend to fit into a story that's somewhere around 16 to 24 minutes, but they vary a lot. Hello, Carla. Glad you're here. Cut that out. It's just one in Glenn. You know that, Carla. Brenda says, makes me mad at stigma all over again, because if stigma were removed, Jayla may have shared her struggles with her parents. Yeah, stigma is a wicked, wicked bad thing. It really impacts the way a person chooses to share things that are going on in their life. That stigma is in all kinds of environments. It isn't just limited to secrets that involve addiction. The stigma can be something as seemingly ridiculous as what kind of store you shop at. That people feel like there's a stigma if you shop at some stores. I once had a girlfriend whose mother said of Target, that's not one of our stores. So So I don't know, Hammer, are you here? Either of our storytellers, are you guys here? I don't know if you're in the chat or not. Hello, Maria. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. I don't know you, do I? Margaret, just wondering how long people have to take methadone or Suboxone. Is it lifelong or can you eventually taper off? We hear stories about people eventually tapering off. We also hear some pretty tragic stories about people tapering off too soon or tapering off before they're really set, or not wanting to use Suboxone as a solution because they don't like how it makes them feel, and the end result is they go back to using. So those are the things that I've heard. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean that I have any particularly informed perspective. I'm not an expert. I talk to a lot of people that are in recovery, and I talk to a lot of people who do recovery counseling and work in rehab centers and that kind of thing. I just talk to them. I'm not an expert. First time here, Maria. Yeah. I appreciate you joining us. It's not. Maria, welcome. This is an awesome chat plus me. Melanie, I've been on methadone maintenance for 8 years straight now, and it is the best option for me as I have pain issues. See, there you go. There are people, I hear from people, we hear a lot of comments from people who are using Suboxone, methadone, and hiya, Brad. And whatever works, it's worth it. It's worth it. So I think I've also been told, we spent a lot of time interviewing a former White House drug czar who was drug czar during Nixon and Ford, and so he's old, and he talked very highly of methadone and Suboxone. He talked about how it helped. He talked about how it helps a lot of people. So Hammer is trying to join us, but he's having to download an app first. So I'm hearing from him on my phone. So yeah. So perhaps he'll be with us in a few minutes, hopefully, and you guys can put some questions right to the storyteller. Crystal, welcome again. Glad you're here. So what are some of the questions you guys might have for Hammer, who I have faith is going to join us soon? Kind of. Hammer's an awesome guy. Let me tell you about Hammer. Hammer is the one who got us to come to Pensacola. He found us this great location. He found us this great location to shoot in. It was we were shooting in an actual studio. A lot of times when we shoot these stories, we shoot them in churches or business conference rooms. We've shot some in like hotel meeting rooms and hotel rooms even. And just office spaces, whatever people find. So Hammer Hammer arranged for us to use an actual production studio. There's a name for the credits. There's a name for the studio in the credit. It's called Hellcat Hangar Production Studios or something like that. Those guys were awesome. Those guys helped me a lot with figuring out how to improve these events, these live events, making it so I can do magic stuff, like have my name and title show up just like that, and then go away just like that. So that may seem like a simple thing, but it's kind of not. And we can go to other video sources, graphics, whatever, and the information that they shared. The information that they shared really helped our channel, and I can't say enough good things about Hellcat Studios. Hellcat Hangar, just a way cool place too. It's a hangar, airplane hangar. One of their clients is the Blue Angels. They do a lot of work for the Blue Angels in Pensacola. So anyway, that's gonna ask Hammer to clarify where they were all living the morning of Jayla's death. Yes, I believe that they were back in Pensacola, that Jayla was back in Pensacola. But yeah, let the dog out. Yeah, it's not, the dog doesn't want out. The dog wants attention. The dog thinks that somebody walking by on the sidewalk in front of the house is dangerous or something. Charlie's Aquatic Nook, thank you. Glenn, my black lab, says hello to your dog. He's watching the screen. Okay. Well, I'm not going to pass that message on because the dog will just start barking. And there's 3 dogs here. So, Hammer's talking to me here on my phone. So, yeah, people are asking about, yeah. So Hammer really was gold in making the event in Pensacola happen. He contacted us, and he hasn't quite joined us yet. He's still figuring out how to get the app to work right. And chocolate lab and a black lab. That sounds awesome. We have a Shih Tzu and a something doodle and another little dog. Oh, look who's here. Hammer Davis. Thank you for joining us, Hammer. So they were living in Pensacola, I was pretty sure. But yeah, I did notice we never actually cleared that up, that they wound up back in Pensacola and how that happened. But thank you for being here, Hammer. Glad you sorted out whatever technology issues were giving you a hard time. My heart goes out to you, Hammer and Lakeisha. Jayla is such a beautiful child. I'm curious as to if there was an autopsy done on Jayla. Yeah, something doodle. He's the barker too. Yeah, so I missed the premiere, but we'll catch it after the live. Yeah, it is there, and we'll just have a look. We'll see how the views are coming on the new premiere, and right now, Jayla's story is over 1,000 views already. So that is pretty good. You catch that hammer. That's way cool. All right. So where am I at? Where am I at? Where am I at? I'm just figuring thing out. No. Doesn't have to be the last question, Brenda. You can ask questions all night long. I'm not gonna be here all night long, but you can ask questions for as long as we're here. That we have the storyteller in the room with us, and I'm sure that Hammer is glad to help. He is very motivated to make a difference in this issue and doing great work. And you guys be sure and check out their website, jaylasvoice.org. Right? I said that right, Hammer? I'm pretty sure. But there is a link to their website in the description. Brenda, you're fine. We'll answer any questions you have. She had just moved back to Pensacola in February, and she passed in April. Dana, I lost my son Zachary when he was murdered with marijuana laced with fentanyl. My Zachary struggled with marijuana and alcohol. Most of us did not leave them in pill form when we consumed it. So I'm not sure how an autopsy would help. So that's the thing that what an autopsy would show is what's in the blood, but what's in the stomach may not offer any clues at all, because the pills are oftentimes crushed and snorted, or they're crushed and smoked, so they never make it to the stomach, and they don't look like a pill anymore. So it can be a challenge to sort out what it was. There was a toxicology report. Brad, aren't you sleepy? Yeah. Yeah, I have the luxury of not being the oldest guy in the room right now, and I appreciate that. I'm always grateful for Brad to be here. They got toxicology. I think it showed how they knew she had enough to kill 10 people. That's right. There was a toxicology report, but the toxicology report doesn't tell you how the drug got in her system. Yep, what Brenda said. Okay. Thanks, Hammer. Hey, Brad, that's a good question from Brenda. How did Carla do on bereaved Mother's Day? Or Carla, if you're still here, how was that day for you? She struggles every day. Yeah. The toxicology is often a tool used during an autopsy, but the two are not the same thing. I think that many times the toxicology isn't back until well after the autopsy as well. When's Mother's Day? Oh, is it this weekend? Is it? Is it? from Carla's Facebook post of Ivy and the boys, you would never know her grief. She is an amazing mom. She is. She is a rock. I remember when I met Carla, it was in San Antonio, and it was to shoot their story. And you know, when we start an interview, we begin with a little bit of small talk while I do things like adjust the microphone. There's a boom microphone that's typically over the storyteller, and so I'm adjusting that and making little tweaks, and while that's going on, I'm just making small talk with the storyteller. And the first thing I asked Carla was, "How are you doing?" And Carla looked at me and she said, "Not good." I felt so helpless. And I didn't know, I couldn't figure out what I could do. It really stuck with me. They stated that the autopsy and the results wouldn't be back for a little while, but when we finally got it back 6 weeks later, I could call back and confirm that they used the word autopsy when speaking with me, but they used it, yeah. Are the awareness groups getting permission to talk in junior high school and high schools, or are they getting obstacles with getting in? And if so, who is giving them obstacles? Okay, there's a good solid question that is vitally important. They're getting into some schools. Other schools are very resistant. Some schools don't want to acknowledge that it's a problem that they need to worry about. They don't want to acknowledge that it could be a problem in their area. They'll say, "We don't have that problem here." Or they just won't respond. I know that Fentanyl Fathers has struggled with several school districts trying to get in, and they just keep hammering away at it. They keep approaching them over and over. They go to school board meetings. They come up with real creative ways to point out the obvious, that it matters for everyone. So the thing that I think is important to keep in mind is that the school districts, it's not an enviable position to be in, because they have to deal with parents. While all of you parents, I'm sure, are just fine, there are parents out there that school districts struggle with all the time. And I believe that there's a lot of times when school districts just don't want to deal with the turmoil that will come from some parents who are fond of making noise, that if they have some sort of drug abuse awareness program, if they have a fentanyl awareness program in the school, the kid goes home and tells a parent about it, and the parent loses their mind and calls up to the school and complains about it and says, "My son doesn't need to be doing this. Is there a problem with drugs at your school? Do I need to move my kid out of your school?" Reactions like that are totally unwarranted. But for schools, I'm sure that there is just this, they just want it to be quiet, just want it to be peaceful. But the end result, typically the way that some of these organizations get into school districts is that they just wear them down until they, all right, fine. Now, there's other school districts that actually seek out the presentations. I know there's the Georgetown ISD, which is near Austin, Texas, actually contacted fentanyl fathers directly, and the way that they found them is by looking on LinkedIn, and they found Greg Swan with Fentanyl Fathers and started making things happen, and it worked out great. There's actually a story about it on our channel for Georgetown ISD. So, let me catch up here. Carla, your babies need you. Where am I at? Carla, your babies need you. Rain is busy making heaven perfect for when her dog joins her, and then when God says your work here is done. Good job, Brenda. Margaret, we have a whole program for middle and high schools, but in Escambia County, it's like pulling teeth without numbing gel. Numbing gel. What? I heard some sort of ding there. Was that me? I don't know. Anyway, I feel like it might be something important. I heard a ding, and I've got all this technology in front of me. It could be something's about to go south. I don't know. We'll see. In most spaces like this that are live, we'd be able to go to a commercial or something, and I could drink some water. But that's not the case here. At some point, YouTube puts commercials in the recording, and I noticed there is a button where I can hit for a commercial, but I don't know. Anyway. So some of the ways that organizations get into schools is going to school board meetings. Not quite making a scene, but sometimes kind of making it feel like you might. So that's one way. Another way is they'll go into the school with their phone, open up a Snapchat, and show them where drugs are available around the school in real time. And that works. Usually works. Sometimes there was a school district that contacted Fentanyl Fathers, or a school district that Fentanyl Fathers was trying to get into, and they said no. And then about 3 weeks later, they had an overdose in the school. The child was revived, but after that event happened, the school district said, okay, y'all can come in here and give a presentation. So it took that. Something very similar happened here in the Houston area in Baytown, Texas, either Baytown or Deer Park. I forget. It was over a year ago now. But when that happened, it was the same kind of deal. An organization was trying to get into the school to give fentanyl awareness presentations. The school said no. And then a child was caught with counterfeit Percocets in the school. There wasn't a overdose. It was just counterfeits in possession of them. But they were found to contain fentanyl, and so then the school district changed their tune and let the presentations happen. Carla, what's in Glenn's cup? It's all gin, Brad. It's all gin. This big giant cup. Just water. I get kind of parched rambling here. So how is our thumbs up going? We have 22 likes. We have 45 viewers right now. And we have 22 likes. So our program trains teachers, faculty, and staff. That's such an important thing to get the information in teachers' heads, so that as they do their regular daily classroom stuff, it's in their heads, and they know how to recognize when there's an opportunity to bring up some little tidbit of information that could save a child's life. Hello, Julie. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you being here. Always appreciate you being here. I haven't looked. You sent me an email today, and I haven't looked at the link yet, but I will. Probably water. Yeah, it's just water. It's just water. Just water, and there's just a little bit of coffee left in here, because it's 8 o'clock right now. 8 o'clock at night, coffee time, right? Out of my fancy mug that is available. It's available on our store. Now, for some reason, our store is not connected to our channel anymore. I don't know what happened. I can't really get a straight answer from the folks at Spring. But we're in the process of putting together another store on a different service. But this very mug is available from our store, which is on Spring. And to find the store, if you want to look at the little bit of merchandise we have, there's t-shirts and sweatshirts and hoodies, coffee mugs. There's fentanyl awareness coffee mugs that have our logo, and on the other side is a graphic that shows a python, an illustration of a python that strikes without warning. That's the idea behind it. And so there's that stuff. There is a link on our website, not on our channel, but on our website, www.texas-pictures.com. At the bottom of the home page is a link to go to our store. So, gosh, that was kind of like a commercial, wasn't it? Except I didn't get any kind of break. So, let me catch up, folks. Julie says that's the same thing going on here about trafficking. Lack of transparency by our sheriff. So many people are in denial. That's the thing that we hear more and more, is criticisms about how law enforcement works or fails to work. And I feel like the key word there is transparency. I feel like most law enforcement professionals are in it for the right reasons. Not all. Not close to all. But most. I've worked with a lot of law enforcement, and it's not a tough read to look at a cop and figure out, all right, he's just working for his pension, or he wants to make a difference, or she, or whatever. And the problem, I think, is more than performance is transparency, that there's not enough attention given to help people understand the process, and how what seems to matter may not be what truly matters when it comes to enforcement or getting a conviction or having any hope of a conviction. So it seems like that could be part of it. All right, let me catch up. I'm insanely naive. Gosh, Charlie, that doesn't sound like something to brag about. Anyway, I'm extremely naive. I wouldn't have the slightest clue how to get any drugs on the streets. Don't need to know either. Yeah, it's not a bad place to be, not knowing how to get something that is illegal. Hammer, yes, indeed, your program is desperately needed. What else? I believe one of the keys to fighting fentanyl and education and educating youth lies with the very youth who've been left behind after losing my son to fentanyl. You mean like siblings? That would be fantastic. That siblings who have lost someone, they have a kind of perspective that would really hit home with a lot of students, I think. The challenge with that is siblings typically are going to be in school too. Hammer says the signs and everything they need to know to protect the lives of students and intervene if needed. Prevention initiatives are also in our program. Parents are welcome to attend this training also. See, that's cool. See, Hammer is on it. Hammer and Keisha are making things happen. They are on it like Oprah on a baked ham. They are on it like a rat on a Cheeto. Sorry, let me catch up. Let me see where we're at here. You're correct. Oh, come on. I'm behind, folks. Just slow down a minute here. After losing my son to fentanyl, I've watched my little one turn her grief into purpose. After losing her father at 7.5, she has been quietly educating her peers at her private Christian school. That's awesome. That's saving lives. That's being part of the solution. Brenda says, D, you're correct. When I do outreach, I'm having zero resistance from kids. Parents and other adults are the bane of my existence. Well, yeah. You know, the parents that we deal with most often know better, tragically so. And so we don't run into many difficult parents. There's been a couple, but parents oftentimes they seem to be a little bit out of touch, like they have this perception of what their kids are up to, and they're not being realistic with how much their kids really know and how much they're really exposed to at school and with their friends. It's like they have forgotten what it was like when they were in school, or they have some idea that it is profoundly different now. I'm 63 years old, and when I was in middle school, I knew several people that were really heavily into recreational drug use beyond marijuana. And that was in the 60s, early 70s. I didn't tell my parents about it. Why? Why would I? It wasn't a big deal to me. It wasn't the idea of being involved with that wasn't appealing to me at all. So Why would I ever even mention it to my parents? So if the school had square dancing classes, that doesn't appeal to me. So I'm not likely to even bring it up to my parents. Sorry, so when we do these colleges peer-to-peer, and hammers on it. D, please give her a hug from me. You're raising a warrior. Thank you. At a parent-teacher conference, her teacher admitted she had no idea what fentanyl was until my little one explained it to her. It's moments like these that remind me when young people are empowered. For sure. Empowering young people is important. We do this thing. We have made 3 documentaries using teams of high school students, volunteers, kids who have some sort of career interest in a related field where it's almost like an internship. So a career interest in filmmaking or journalism or law enforcement, because these projects were all through different law enforcement agencies that hired us to do this. And it's great to empower kids. They can come up with approaches and solutions to problems that as you get older, you lose sight of that creative angle to look at. I don't know if I said that right or not, but I think you get the idea. Okay, let me see where I'm at. Whatever happened to Nancy Reagan's slogan? The days of children being seen and not heard are over. It's mind-blowing to me. It's hard for me to explain. So many kids are losing their parents being left behind. And Oprah loves her baked ham. Yeah. Okay, there's more of those. Like Oprah on a baked ham, like a rat on a Cheeto, ugly on an ape. I heard one, they are on it like Biden on a flight of stairs. That's kind of harsh. I guess that's it. That's all I got. What happened to Nancy Reagan's slogan to just say no? Well, we get comments about it. We get comments about the just say no thing. Someone will just post the message, just say no. So it's still out there. It's just there's nothing official happening with it. Yeah. I don't know if saying it failed is accurate. I don't think that the only way to combat this problem realistically is to offer something better, because this is a business. However the drugs get into this country doesn't matter nearly as much as the fact that in this country there is a big demand for the drugs. You can attack the supply all day long, and every time you have a victory over one source, another source will take its place. It's a vicious circle, but there's a whole lot of careers that are built on working within that vicious circle. If you want to put a business out of business, you have to go after their customers. And when I say go after their customers, I'm not saying throw users in jail. I'm saying find something better to compete with the drugs. It's a basic business thing. Netflix put Blockbuster out of business by going after Blockbuster's customers, not by going after the supply, not by going after Hollywood studios and other production facilities that make the content that's on the DVDs that they rented out. Netflix offered a better solution, and that put Blockbuster out of business. She touched money and it took 4 doses to bring her back. Wow. Okay, people need to consider their careers as well. As a previous Uber driver, I quit touching luggage and picking up people with broken down cars on the freeway. There was a news story of a female cop who touched money and it took 4 doses to bring her back. I agree, Brenda. Parents try to shelter their children from the truth. This is only hurting them in the end. Fentanyl does not discriminate, and it will hit your family when you least expect it. Sheltering a child is an injustice to the child, I think. You filter their information according to their age and their level of maturity, but sheltering them is risky. It could be harmful, I think. So is there any other questions for Hammer or Lakeisha? I think that's Hammer's way of saying we're going to be leaving soon. I think that's what Hammer means by asking that, because he's in Florida and it is almost 9:30 in Florida, so holy cow. How are the younger children doing, Hammer? This is Lakeisha. They carry her light every day. What an awesome way to put that. They carry her light every day. And deal with grief in different ways. It seems to me that children are particularly resilient compared to adults. Children seem to be able to recover from this kind of loss more completely. It seems that way. Maybe not, but it seems that way for sure. Her viewing and funeral was May 7th, 8th last year, so this week has been difficult. I imagine so. Lakeisha, I asked because my dad accidentally killed my 21-month-old sister the day I was born. Wow. I'm sorry, Brenda. My mother was emotionally unavailable and my dad became an alcoholic. Now, I worry about siblings who lose. 11 years struggles with own identity in school because he went into middle school this year. 11-year-old struggles with his own identity in school because he went into middle school this year. Yeah, middle school is a weird transition. My heart goes out to you, Lakeisha. Carlos says one of the problems with fentanyl is that kids don't always think they're doing drugs. They often think they're taking a prescription pill. Mental health is the bigger issue, for sure. That's one of the most wicked aspects of fentanyl is that it is in counterfeit pharmaceuticals. It is in counterfeits that are very believable to look at. They look genuine. They're just gonna talk over there. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I'm not gonna go look though. So, sister or brother, you guys are the example of how to thrive by turning pain into purpose. Your strength is awesome. Glenn, it's getting late. Yes, I know, Brad. I know. It's getting late. You're probably tired because, you're the old guy in the room. So I get what you're saying. I appreciate you being here, Brad. I really do. Our 18-year-old son is trying to ignore it and move forward regardless, but we're afraid that he's not processing. And no, Glenn, we aren't leaving until it's over. Okay. I'm just checking. It's going to be over soon. We have been here for... How long have we been here? We have been here for 53 minutes, so it is getting close to time to wrap it up. So, Carlos says so many kids are struggling with depression and anxiety, and there's a serious lack of mental health care. There is. The mental health thing, that's one of those things that faces a lot of stigma. There is still this issue with people coming forward and saying, I could use some guidance. I need some counseling. I need to address some issues that I have with a professional and find a solution that'll work for me. Boys hold so much in. I wish I knew how to fix this, but my testosterone is too low to help. But I know men have their ways of thriving. I will pray for his 18-year-old self. Sorry. Men do grieve differently. I have this group of dear friends. There's three of them, and we all went to high school together, and we reconnected 7 or 8 years ago, and we have we get together, we hang out, we act a little childish. But each of us at one point or another has cried in front of the others. We find a way to share, to let out those things that we bottle up. It just creeps up on us, and boom, there it is. And it's good stuff. Men find a way. Men don't put on pajamas and sit on the sofa and eat a whole bucket of ice cream while watching the Hallmark Channel. But we find ways to. I've noticed that's what my other children have done. Some would say my other son took it much harder than my daughter. My daughter grieves from, oh, come on. Sorry. Turn my mic up. I don't know. Is that an easy setting? I don't know. What if I just be closer to it? Maybe that would be a good thing. My mic is up pretty much. I can turn it a little bit more. There, that's a little bit louder. Right? Is it maybe? I don't know. So my son grieves like I do by speaking out about his brother's death. Carla, yes, and the puberty years add so much to their plates. I hope the mental health situation improves soon. Brad. My baby Googled, what does a generic Xanax look like the night she died? I remember that from the story. And that's to look back, hindsight is 2020, and you can see, well, there's an opportunity for this to have gone another way, but you can't hang on to that's yeah, I remember that. Okay, Charlie, thanks. See you next time. It is about time to wrap things up. So sorry, Carla. Let me see what I'm trying to make sure I haven't missed any messages here. Carla, I'm so sorry. I just want to scream at the heavens for this fentanyl chaos we are in. Dana says, I've sat many nights with my adult son crying about the loss of his brother. So, Carla, I'm grateful for you. I have learned a lot from you. Not just what you've shared with me, but what I've learned just by watching how you deal with things. So I'm grateful for you. Brenda says, I found my husband crying in our shop a few hours after I told him I was addicted to illicit fentanyl. I never want to cause him another second of pain. Yeah, I get that. We had a scare. A cancer scare that worked out fine. But it was terrifying to me for a little while. And I couldn't really let on that it was terrifying. It worked out. All's good. My adult daughter gets uncomfortable when I talk about him and avoids it. That's one of those, everybody grieves their own way. Everybody reacts their own way. It's a weird thing. I know a lot of parents that have lost loved ones who told me about how people don't know how to interact with them, whether to bring up their loved one's name or not. And for most, it is it's a good thing to talk to a parent about the loved one they've lost. They welcome it. They welcome the opportunity. But if you're not in it, you don't have any way to know that. So, Carla, I'm learning that grace under stress looks like from you. There you go. See, grace under stress. Holy cow, that is so much more concise than what I said. Good job. Thank you both. I often feel like I'm a disaster and I'm letting everyone down because of my grief and depression. You're not a disaster. You're grieving. What kind of disaster would you be if you didn't grieve such terrible loss? That would be a disaster. Hammer says, I'm grateful for the people I've met throughout this process and those that I will meet. However, I wish that none of us had to be in that position. That's a sentiment I hear from parents a lot. There are so many remarkable people in this community that no one wants to be a part of. There's a couple of nut jobs too, but there are so many wonderful people full of this love, full of this. And I think that maybe there's a restructuring of priorities that takes place when someone loses a child. That things like love and compassion and caring for others and helping others becomes a more important thing. Seems like. Hello, Lakeisha. Brad says, you don't know how painful it is to see your daughter so depressed every day and try to bring some type of joy in her life. No, that's got to be tough, Brad. I know what it's like to try to bring some joy into your daughter's life. I do know that. Look at all the people who care about Carla. Embrace that. There's a big network out there looking out for her. Yeah, no, that's the best that I've got. Nut job is your title for tomorrow. No. Yeah, there's some things I'm not gonna get into, but you're not even close to nut job. I would have never met it. I hadn't walked this journey alone. The angel families I have encountered have been a strength for me. They are inspiring. It says something great about humanity, the way that so many of these parents have found this level of strength and endurance out of nowhere. Strength that they never knew they had, I'm sure. Dana says to Brad and Carly, you're in her prayers. Y'all are all beautiful. Well, this seems like a great opportunity to start wrapping it up here. We've been here for 65 minutes, and that certainly seems like a lot. So we do have this, and I don't know how many of you guys have noticed, but we have a different opening sequence in these last, 3 or 4 stories that we've published. We have a different opening sequence. that we have the seal logo at the front. And so I'm going to play it for you guys now because I just want a little bit of feedback. So what are the odds that I'll hit the right buttons here? We'll see. So it's this. And in the opening, it runs through the different kinds of stories. So, any feedback on that? The idea behind it is having something that reminds all of our viewers that we have other stories too, particularly the addiction recovery stories. It's really important to me that everybody knows that there's addiction recovery stories on our channel. We hear from so many people that are in recovery and so many people who are long-term recovery, new to recovery, and we hear from people who just want to be in recovery. And to be able to direct them to that series of stories, which are recovery victory stories, that's really an important thing to me, to be able to show them that there's hope, that somewhere in the 40-something stories that are in the playlist right now, there's got to be one story that they can identify with. Different color, yes. Who was it? Someone else said something about. Someone else said something about different color. I think it was Julie. Yeah, you know, I'd like to. It gets complicated to me with color. It's simpler if it's just a single color. I don't know. I would love to figure out a good color scheme that would work better, that we could integrate color based on what the story's about. That maybe a purple color for recovery or a purple color or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, that'd be cool. All right, folks. So it is about time to wrap it up. It is. I know it's way past Brad's bedtime, but we are designate the task to a youngster. No. Might. We have a little bit of a staff. We have 5. Hi, Karen. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate your comments very much. We have started doing the live events after pretty much every premiere. Not everyone, but close to everyone. Whenever we premiere a new story about fentanyl in particular, but also recovery stories and any of the other topics, that this is a great opportunity to me to get feedback from the audience when the story's fresh in their heads. So I really appreciate this. Anyway, but long enough for today. So we're going to wrap things up before the battery dies on my camera. And I want to just say again how grateful I am for all of you guys being here. Thank you, Rhonda Kirkland Phillips. Thank you for all the lives you have and will save with your work. I just feel very fortunate to get to do this kind of work. It is a blessing to me. So thank you, Dana. Thank you, Brenda. Remember, guys, okay, I'm going to share with you the closing graphic that's got all of our contact information, but want you guys to know that I really, I appreciate you all a lot for being here. And so we will see you. Yeah, see, Brad's already fallen asleep. He's snoring. I really appreciate you guys. So we will see you in probably a couple of days when we premiere our next story. Meanwhile, we lost your sister to throat cancer from using heroin. Wow. Very sorry for your loss, Karen. That's a new one. Karen, stay involved with the channel, please. This is a great little recovery community we've got here. Great support community. There's a whole lot of love in this little chat window that's going here. So I want to wish you all a good night, and we will see you next time. But here is our contact information. You can reach us by email at info@texas-pictures.com. We're on Facebook. We're also on TikTok. And you can visit our website. And our website has all of our contact information, too. It's got email addresses, phone numbers, mailing address, all of that. And it's also got a link to our store, our merchandise store. And it has a link to find more information about how to have a storytelling summit happen in your area. And there's a link that explains what the process of sharing a story is all about. What is the TikTok page? Holy cow, I don't know. The TikTok page is Texas Pictures Documentaries, I'm pretty sure. One of our editors handles all the TikTok stuff, but it's there. It's there. So thanks again, everyone. And we will see you next time.